The Paradise Cove Inn had been in my family for 3 generations. It wasn't the largest or most luxurious hotel on Crystal Bay Beach, but it had something money couldn't buy: heart. Every weathered floorboard, every salt-kissed window, and every worn cushion in the lobby told a story of family vacations, honeymoon couples, and summer memories that spanned decades. My name is Leela Chin, and this hotel is more than just my inheritance. It's my legacy. My grandparents built the inn in 1962. They were immigrants who arrived with nothing but dreams and determination. They started with just 10 rooms and a small restaurant serving Grandma's famous coconut pancakes to sleepy fishermen at dawn. My parents expanded it to 30 rooms in the 90s, adding a second floor and the Wave Watcher's deck, which became famous for marriage proposals. I grew up in room 12, doing homework at the front desk and learning hospitality from the ground up. Every guest is family, Dad always said. When Dad passed away last year, Mom and I kept the hotel running, just the two of us. It wasn't easy. Big chains were moving in, offering standardized luxury and corporate efficiency. But we had our loyal guests, families who'd been coming back for generations, who knew that true hospitality couldn't be franchised. Then I met Ethan Carter at a local business association meeting. He was charming, passionate about sustainable tourism, and seemed to understand the value of family-owned businesses. We fell in love over long walks on the beach and discussions about preserving the character of Crystal Bay. I should have known it was too good to be true. The Carters, as I soon learned, were hotel royalty. Carter Resorts, their international luxury chain, was worth billions. Ethan's parents, Gregory and Eleanor Carter, didn't just own hotels. They devoured them, buying up prime beachfront properties and transforming them into identical glass and steel monuments to excess. Our wedding was a society event at their flagship resort in Bali. I wore a designer dress that cost more than our hotel's annual maintenance budget, feeling like an actress in a play where I didn't know my lines. "Welcome to the family," Eleanor had said, air kissing my cheeks. "We'll have to do something about your background, of course. Perhaps a position in our PR department." I smiled politely and kept the Paradise Cove's ledger hidden in my desk drawer. The first year of marriage was a delicate balance. Ethan split his time between working for his family's company and helping me modernize our hotel systems. He seemed to respect my dedication to preserving Paradise Cove's character, even as his parents made thinly veiled suggestions about upgrading to our standards. Then came the family dinner that changed everything. The Carters had invited us to their penthouse overlooking the bay. Mom was working the front desk as usual, so it was just Ethan and me. Eleanor had arranged the dining room like a corporate boardroom, complete with presentation materials at each place setting. "We have exciting news," Gregory announced as servers poured $100 a bottle wine. "Carter Resorts is expanding into Crystal Bay." My heart stopped. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table but wouldn't meet my eyes. "We're building our most ambitious property yet," Eleanor continued, sliding glossy renderings across the table. "The Crystal Bay Carter minus 40 stories, 500 rooms, restaurants, and a rooftop infinity pool. It will redefine luxury in this market." The proposed location was right next to Paradise Cove. The massive tower would completely overshadow our modest property. Of course, Gregory added with a predatory smile, "We'll need to acquire some adjacent properties to maximize the footprint." "The Paradise Cove Inn isn't for sale," I said quietly. Eleanor laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Darling, let's be realistic. That dying property is hardly worth maintaining. We're prepared to offer you a very generous price. Say, twice its current market value." "It's not about money," I started, but she cut me off. "Everything is about money, dear. That's your problem. You're too sentimental. Business requires a certain ruthlessness." "Mother," Ethan interjected, "Leela has put her heart in tow." "And that's precisely why she can't see clearly," Gregory interrupted. "The property value alone. Once our resort opens, will force her to sell. We're offering a courtesy here, a chance to exit gracefully." I looked at Ethan, hoping for support, but he was studying his wine glass intently. "Think about it," Eleanor pressed. "You can have a real career with Carter Resorts. Leave that quaint little motel behind and step into the future." My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "No, thank you." "Don't be foolish," Eleanor snapped, her facade cracking. That worthless property won't survive 6 months once we break ground. Sell to us now or watch it crumble. I stood up slowly, placing my napkin beside my untouched entree. Thank you for dinner. I should get back. We have guests arriving. As I left, I heard Eleanor say to Ethan, "Really, darling, couldn't you have married someone more ambitious?" The drive home was silent. Ethan kept starting to speak, then stopping. When we pulled into Paradise Cove's parking lot, the sight of our Vintage Inn sign glowing against the twilight sky brought tears to my eyes. "Leela," Ethan finally said, "maybe they have a point. The market is changing. Paradise Cove would need massive investments to compete with another soulless luxury tower." I turned to face him. "Is that really what Crystal Bay needs?" "I'm trying to help," he protested. "If you just consider." "Did you know?" I asked quietly, "about their plans?" His silence was answer enough. "How long?" "For months," he admitted. "The permits are already in process." "Leela, please try to understand. This is business." I got out of the car, my heels crunching on the seashell-lined path my grandfather had built 60 years ago. "No, Ethan, this is family." Inside, Mom was checking in a young couple who'd just gotten engaged. Their faces glowed with joy as she gave them the key to room 15, the room where the groom's parents had spent their own honeymoon 28 years ago. "Everything okay, honey?" Mom asked as the couple headed upstairs. I hugged her tightly, breathing in her familiar scent of jasmine and fresh laundry. "We need to talk." Over late-night coffee in our private kitchen, I told her everything. The resort plans, the threat, the ultimatum. Mom listened quietly, her hands wrapped around her mug. When I finished, she got up and went to the old filing cabinet in the corner, pulling out a leather folder I'd never seen before. "Your father and I knew this day might come," she said, sitting back down. "The big chains have been circling Crystal Bay for years. That's why we made some preparations." She opened the folder, revealing documents, deeds, and maps that made my eyes widen. "Mom, this is insurance," she smiled. "Your father wasn't just a hotel manager, honey. He was a visionary." As she explained, a plan began to form in my mind. The Carters thought they were dealing with a naive innkeeper's daughter. They were about to learn that sometimes the smallest properties held the biggest surprises. "It won't be easy," Mom warned. The Carters played dirty. I thought of Eleanor's sneering face, of Ethan's weakness, of the legacy my grandparents had built from nothing. "Then it's a good thing we know how to clean up messes," I replied, thinking of all the spills and stains we tackled over the years. That night, I sat on the Wave Watcher's deck, listening to the surf and making calls. By dawn, I had the beginnings of a strategy that would either save Paradise Cove or bring down both our properties in the attempt. The Carters had 6 months until their grand opening, 6 months to learn that true hospitality, like true love, couldn't be bought or sold. It was time to show them exactly how much a worthless property could be worth. The next morning, I woke to the sound of construction. Carter's crews were already setting up at the adjacent property, their machines growling like hungry predators. I found Ethan in the hotel lobby, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. "Leela, please be reasonable," he began. "Mother and father are willing to increase their offer, 3 times market value." I was checking in the Thompsons, who'd been coming to Paradise Cove every summer for 20 years. Their kids had learned to swim in our pool. "Good morning, Mrs. Thompson." I smiled, handing her the familiar key. "The hibiscus you planted last year is blooming beautifully, just like always." She beamed, then frowned at the construction noise. "What's happening next door?" "Progress, apparently," I said dryly. "Don't worry, our pancakes will still be served at sunrise." Ethan waited until they left before continuing. "This is exactly what I mean. Sentimental attachments aren't a business model. The Carter will have automated check-in, digital room controls, AI concierge services, and 0 personal connection." I finished. "Is that really what you want?" He ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair. "What I want is for you to be practical. This resistance is pointless. The permits are approved. Construction has started." "Most of the permits," I corrected, thinking of the documents Mom had shown me. "Tell your parents I'm not selling. Not now. Not ever." As he left, I called the number Mom had given me. "Mr. Wu, this is Leela Chen from Paradise Cove. I believe you knew my father." Over the next week, I met with a series of people who'd known Dad, lawyers, city council members, local business owners. Each meeting revealed another piece of the puzzle he'd left behind. The biggest surprise came from Maria Lopez, the city's water resources manager. "Your father was brilliant," she said, spreading out surveys and water tables. He knew development would come eventually, so he secured the rights to the underground aquifer that supplies this entire section of the beach. I studied the maps with growing amazement. So any major construction would need our permission to access the water supply. She grinned. And that's just the beginning. She was right. Dad had spent years quietly acquiring easements, rights of way, and strategic slivers of land throughout Crystal Bay. None of them were worth much individually, but together, they formed a web of legal control over key infrastructure points. Eleanor started sending increasingly aggressive real estate agents to our door. I had Mom handle them while I put our plan into motion. First, I contacted every small business owner in Crystal Bay who'd been squeezed out by Carter's previous developments. Their stories painted a pattern of broken promises and strong-arm tactics. Then I reached out to environmental groups concerned about the resort's impact on the delicate coastal ecosystem. Dad's research on water tables and erosion patterns proved invaluable, but my masterstroke came from an unexpected source. Our longtime maintenance man, George. "Miss Leela," he said one evening, "he should see what they're doing with their foundation work. My cousins are on their crew." The photos he showed me made my blood run cold. Carter Resorts was cutting corners on critical structural elements, rushing to meet their ambitious opening date. I took the evidence to Amanda Wu, an old family friend and the city's top construction lawyer. "This is serious," she said, reviewing the documentation. "If these modifications aren't properly permitted, how long to prepare the injunction?" She smiled. "For Robert Chen's daughter, I'll have it ready tomorrow." The next month was a blur of legal maneuvers and countermoves. The Carters threw money and lawyers at every obstacle, but Dad's meticulous groundwork held firm. Eleanor showed up one morning, perfectly manicured rage in every step. "You ungrateful little gold digger," she hissed. "After everything we've done for you. You mean like hiding your development plans during my wedding?" I kept checking in guests, refusing to give her the satisfaction of my full attention, or trying to bully me out of my inheritance. "We made your cheap little motel famous by association. Ethan threw away his reputation by marrying the help, and this is how you repay us." I finally looked up. "First, I'm not the help. I'm a third-generation business owner. Second, Ethan didn't marry down. You just never realize what real class looks like." She left in a fury of designer perfume and threats. That evening, Ethan moved out of our suite. "I'm sorry," he said, packing his limited collection of casual clothes, "but I have to think about my future in the company." I fingered my wedding ring. "And what about our future?" He couldn't meet my eyes. "Maybe after you." I placed the ring on the dresser. "Goodbye, Ethan." Construction continued next door, but every day brought new delays. Water access issues, permit complications, labor disputes. The Carters burned through money trying to solve problems that all led back to one source: the rights and regulations Dad had quietly accumulated over decades. A week before the grand opening, I received an unexpected visitor, Gregory Carter himself, looking less polished than usual. "Name your price," he said without preamble. "This vendetta has gone on long enough." I led him out to the Wave Watchers deck. The sunset painted the sky in spectacular colors, while next door, his half-finished resort cast long shadows. "Mr. Carter, this isn't a vendetta. This is protection of my family's legacy, of Crystal Bay's character, of the right way to do business." "Don't lecture me about business," he snapped. "Your father." "My father," I interrupted, understood that true success isn't just about profit margins. It's about building something that lasts, something that makes the world a little better. I handed him a folder. "These are my terms, non-negotiable." He read through the documents, his face darkening. "This is blackmail, Leela." "This is partnership," I corrected. "Paradise Cove stays independent but will work with Carter Resorts to develop Crystal Bay responsibly. No more strong-arm tactics. No more destroying small businesses. We grow together, or we both fail." "And if I refuse?" I smiled. "Then the evidence of your permit violations goes public tomorrow, and the aquifer access remains blocked. Your choice." The grand opening was postponed by mutual agreement. When the Crystal Bay Carter finally opened 6 months later, it was 20 stories shorter, with local businesses operating in its retail spaces and a design that complemented rather than overwhelmed its neighbors. Paradise Cove got an update, subtle modernizations that preserved its character while improving efficiency. We still serve grandma's coconut pancakes at sunrise. Ethan sent divorce papers from Dubai, where he's running a regional office. I signed them without regret. Some loves, like some business models, aren't built to last. Eleanor still won't speak to me, but Gregory and I have developed a grudging respect. Last week, he brought potential investors to dinner at our restaurant. Sometimes, I overheard him say, the best business decisions aren't the obvious ones. Mom and I added a new tradition. Once a month, we invite local hotel owners for a strategy session on maintaining Crystal Bay's unique character while adapting to changing times. The meetings always end with sunset cocktails on the Wave Watchers deck. Yesterday, a young couple checked in for their honeymoon. We chose Paradise Cove because it has something special, the bride said. You can feel the history, the heart. I gave them the key to room 15 and watched them head upstairs, hand in hand. Through the lobby windows, I could see both our Vintage Inn sign and Carter's elegant modern logo glowing against the twilight sky. Different styles, different approaches, but finally in balance. Dad would have loved that. Later, standing on the beach where my grandparents first dreamed of building something lasting, I thought about legacy, not just the physical property, but the principles it represented. Integrity, perseverance, the courage to stand up for what's right. The waves still whisper against the shore, telling stories of past and future. Paradise Cove Inn still welcomes travelers looking for more than just a place to sleep. And I still believe, like my family before me, that true hospitality comes from the heart. Some things, after all, really are worthless to those who only see dollar signs. But to those who understand value beyond a balance sheet, they're absolutely priceless.